Everyone. Good morning. What a great morning it is. It's going to get a little hotter, but I'm not complaining. So it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Um, so we have quite a few things on our agenda today, and we're going to get started. The first agenda item is comprehensive economic development strategy. And we have several people that are here. If you'd like to come up and introduce your people, that would be great.
Commissioner
Yes.
Dumas and Commissioner Dreehouse.
Mhm.
I'm Harry Blanton with Alloy, also Hamilton County Economic Development Office. And as you know, every 5 years, the county does a comprehensive economic development strategy. We're at the very beginning of this whole process, and we thought we'd come in and give you a little overview of the process, get your input, and you will have many opportunities to give input along the process. I'm really just here to introduce the team and then to let Liz Bloom give the presentation. So the team of people who are working on the SEDS this year include Kelly Adamson, Robert Bell, the planning department with Steve Johns and Chris Schneider, my staff, Michael Whidden, and then our consultant, Liz Bloom. And I think it's a good time just to turn it over to Liz to give her a chance to give you an overview of the process.
Great. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us. I will say this is about the third time that this team has been together to update the SEDS, and I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm glad they asked me to come along one more time. If we can do the objective is the same, that it has been time and again. We need to be compliant with state and federal law on having an updated comprehensive economic development strategy for the county. Sometimes, and in some counties, it's kind of a check the box exercise. I think here, this staff takes it very seriously, and it's an every 5 year opportunity to just take a minute and to talk with our stakeholders and our other partners to see what they're thinking about, to share with them what we're thinking about, and then update the economic development strategy. So, oh, I have the clicker. Okay. All right, now I'm feeling good. What am I putting out? So the economic development strategy, the objectives that we're trying to accomplish are to identify strategic ways that we're going to grow the county's economy, population, and the tax base. That's really the center of the conversation. It provides direction to the county and to your partners and your stakeholders and to other local jurisdictions about what might make sense for everybody's economic development dollars and the investments that will be made over the years. It's also a way to get everybody on the same page. And I will say, I looked back through the past, the 2013 SEDS, the 19 SEDS, the 20 update, and we're accomplishing things. A lot of the things that were on the early SEDS reports have been accomplished. I think we've created a much better network of economic development partners. They're collaborating better. That was a really important objective several years ago. The Brent Spence Bridge is underway. I'm going to call it under construction. We have better public transportation and better public transportation funding than we have in the past. We've been focused on brownfields. We're doing a lot of the things that we've said in other SEDS. So again, the objective is to take a minute, talk to all of our partners, see what they're thinking about, and see what they're concerned about, and figure out what that means in terms of updating strategies for the county and updating investment around economic development. We'll be updating existing information. There's a set of information and metrics that we use on a regular basis to track how we're doing. I have to give credit to the Planning and Economic Development Department. That staff will be doing the data update. They do a great job. As I said, we've been working as a team for several iterations of this, so we have it figured out. There are some new things I think that we're going to look at. I'm really interested in thinking about energy resilience these days. That's not something we've talked about a lot in the past. One of the things that I'll be taking a lead on is interviewing stakeholders. We have a list of about 20 economic development stakeholders, local jurisdictions, people who help us think about this, chambers of commerce, Metro, other folks who are engaged in the work collectively, to ask them what they're thinking. As I said, as I thought about what we've been talking about as we've done other sets. We were recovering from a housing crisis. We were recovering from COVID. Resilience, it seems to be something that is increasingly more important as I think about what the long-term proposition that we're working with is. So interviews will take place, hopefully get the lion's share of them done in April. That will certainly bleed into May. We'll probably be back here in May to share with you what we heard, and that helps us frame up the issues as we talk about moving forward. We then have two big sort of public opportunities for communities and the public to comment. The first is around the issue framing, which is what have we heard? What do we think that means for us? And then the second is when we get to preliminary recommendations. This is what we've heard. This is what we think that means for the county and other stakeholders. That will come probably in October. I think the dates are next, so let's go. The data gathering, which is really economic indicator updates and interviews, as I said, will hope to be finished by the end of May. That'll give us the time to get the issue framing ready for a June meeting, and then preliminary recommendations in October. Probably bring you a final document to review in January. And there's the schedule. And that's the update. And I'm happy to answer questions. As I said, I think we'd like to share with you findings from the interviews and the data updates, and then share with you feedback from the issue framing conversation, and then again for preliminary recommendations. And that I hope gives you, we're not too much in front of you, but we're in front of you at times when you'll have an opportunity to sort of guide the conversation and guide the direction. Once we've got public comment in a number of ways, and then again, you'll have the opportunity to take a look at it before it's a final document.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Vice President Reese, did you want to speak? Okay. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes, thank you. I have a question for you, Liz, about the process, as you've been doing this for a while with the team. And I appreciate the update. I do think it's important that we have an understanding of this process, the nature of reaching out to the community, to stakeholders, to make sure that we remain on track when it comes to the priorities of the county related to economic development. The one piece, and I was looking through because I'm not sure, maybe I missed it. Is there an element where you look at previous reports and take an inventory of where you are on some of those points? You mentioned a few of them, transportation being one, the Brent Spence Bridge
Yes.
being one. Is there a more formal element to this where you say, 5 years ago, these were the priorities that bubbled up from the interviews and from the open sessions, and here's kind of where we are on those as we think about how we're going to move forward?
Thank you. Yes, and that happens kind of in two ways. One of them is these overarching, we'll do the analysis of previous documents. Where are we? How are we doing? Is it still relevant? All of that gets measured against the data we see. Another place where I think we've done a really good job of responding to a big issue was creative placemaking and entertainment, energy downtown. We've done a lot. You've invested a lot in those resources, and it's made a big difference. There's the analysis that we will do about how have we done on these things. There's also a part of the document that's a little bit more technical, which we'll go back and highlight all of the funding decisions and how those are going and what it looks like moving forward. So there'll be a sort of a broad analysis of how we're doing and what we think needs to change as we move forward based on changing conditions in the economy and in the environment. And then there's a more technical analysis about this is what's been funded, this is how we're doing.
Okay, great, thank you. The other piece then is when you do the public sessions, will you please let us know when that opportunity comes up, because I'd be happy to push that. I'm sure we all would. push that out to people that we think might be interested in participating.
Absolutely. And we'll do each round. There are 2 sessions, one during the day, one in the evening, because people have different schedules and they'll be able to come at different times. We certainly target all the local jurisdictions. We also make everything's open to the public. We want to hear what people say. We target all of our stakeholders, obviously people who we've interviewed, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I had read this earlier. It was on our website, and I thought it was very simplistic, but to the point. Vice President Reese.
Thank you, and thank you. I think this is going to be very helpful. I am concerned that the world is changing quickly, and the speed of doing business has to increase. Whereas before we could put a plan together, 5 years or what have you, but now we almost need a 50-day plan or a 5-day plan. So I would just ask as you're putting the strategy together, both a very short term or a fast pace, or if I would call a right now priority, and then something that maybe we could look at long term, but with the understanding that it may have to be, we have to be flexible and nimble. So I'm interested in that when talking with people. The other thing is, I want to look at where we're putting our investments, because I get a lot of course, City of Cincinnati is very important and downtown's very important. But I'm hearing from people in Anderson Township, and I'm hearing from people in Coleraine Township. I'm hearing from who, they're out there, the Cleves area, that maybe never get downtown. And they want to see, we're supposed to be county-wide. They want to see some investments in that. We have very limited funds. The city has limited funds of Cincinnati. We have limited. We can't always be in every deal that I've been at the city, and the county was not always in every deal. When I was vice mayor, the city, we took leadership on things, and the county was not involved. But I'm noticing now, every time there's a bailout need, the county is kind of drug into it, and that also takes away from opportunities throughout the county, because I'd like to see the county get stronger and build. We've got land in Forest Park that, the one, when you get off the highway, that's a big deal. So I'd like to see in your, when you bring the stuff back, I don't want to see just, we need more entertainment venues downtown. And then I also want to look at debt-wise, where has the county's debt gone? What is the balance? Is there a pie chart? Is all the debt, I had a pie chart on the banks. It's 198 acres. And when people bring up certain things, I'm able to look at, this is just this thing didn't even make the pie chart that they're coming after, when we've got other things that's $1 billion we've spent down there,
Right.
And they're not talking about that. There are things that are changing. A lot of times we're here, we need more housing downtown. Well, we just saw in the paper that that might not be the case. We have a housing project down there, condos or whatever it is. The building is in receivership and foreclosed. Is that the future? We don't want to have all these housing units downtown and nobody is able to afford them and can't be in them. I don't know. Maybe that's not the answer, but I would be looking to your report to help us identify those things and some of those red flags that maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was, yes, we need to flood housing downtown. Walkable city, I'd like to have that walkable county. Our county is getting older. They had a report that came out from baby boomers, et cetera. Also, more people are getting knee and hip surgeries in a short amount of time. So if we make it where all you can do is walk, then you can't pull up. There is a need for people to be able to pull up and park in front of the businesses. Yeah. So I like to have that in the report. Is that the future? DoorDash, you got to be able to have a car to get to the business because everybody's doing DoorDash. So these things sound good, walkable cities, but if you go to the orthopedic surgeons, younger and younger people are having to get surgeries. So and then the other thing is, this may not be popular, but I don't think parking garages is the answer. I know some people say they don't feel safe going in a garage and have to get on the elevator. They want some combination of flat lots, and if you want to get in a garage. So those are some things, peeling back the onions. I'm looking forward to your report, but I wanted to put those things on the table because we always get a report back and say, oh, it says we need more entertainment, millions and millions and more dollars. Oh, we need more of this. But then when I'm out here talking to the people, maybe they don't get surveyed because they work in 2 and 3 jobs or trying to hold on to the house they got. They say, what are y'all doing? You ain't doing nothing out here where I live. So just wanted to make sure that those things, I know you're going to dive into it, but I just wanted to make sure that those things are somehow included in the report.
I think that's really helpful. I think one of the things, as you look back at the previous reports, how we've talked about retail use, I think we realize now that exactly what you're saying, some of those big county retail centers that are around the loop are indeed obsolete. They are not coming back. I think we're a lot clearer in Tri-County, Forest Fair Mall. I mean, we aren't even using those names anymore, but those become really big opportunity sites. They're complicated and they're potentially expensive, but they are really important redevelopment sites. And I think the conversation, we've also, I actually really happy to have a partnership with the Community and Economic Development Department as well. We've been working on housing with you all in the county for years. How housing impacts the economy is the question here, but I think that understanding the housing sector's role in supporting economy is important, and we can't build 40,000 new units in the city of Cincinnati. We've got to find places in the county where we can support additional development that does what we want it to do, which is create density around commercial centers and walkability and creates different kinds of housing, but it can't all be in the city, period. This report is really, and we have thought about and had conversations about what role does housing play in the economic development strategy? And I think the question is largely, how does it support economic outcomes or economic objectives? But it's clearly a big, important issue. And I think, as I said, one of the docs was about recovering from the 2008-9 recession. Housing obviously had to be part of that conversation. We've talked about creative placemaking, and housing is a part of that. The economic development question is a little bit different than the housing question, but you just can't separate the topics. So, I appreciate
you worked with you for many, many years. And so I'm putting these things out there. We need to know what is the average income you have to make in Hamilton County in order to survive.
Yep.
That's important for the corporate community who, brings us things and say we need to do this and do that. How much do you need to make in order to survive in Hamilton County? The affordability for me, that's my number one issue, is affordability. That's what I'm hearing from everybody. That's everything, you can have all this stuff, but we can't afford it. Obviously, with a building downtown that's condos or whatever it is going into receivership or whatever, it shows that might not be the model. So this will help, I think, starting off with, here's how much money you have to make. And here's some of those gaps, because we really can't do economic development if a person doesn't have a job or the small business can't survive. How many businesses have we lost? Like you said, COVID in 2008, I see businesses going out every other day. So we kind of like,
it's workforce housing,
ignored,
right?
But it's ignored that we lost the capacity. So I think what you're putting together is so timely, is my point.
Yep.
It's so timely and so needed, and would help us with a roadmap. And then when you talk about what we have invested in already, how many of those things pay taxes? Because we have a big deal about property taxes.
Sure.
People are, upset. Property taxes have gone up. But when you put a new development in, they are tax abated. Mm-hmm. But the grandma ain't tax abated. Her tax goes up because you've increased her value. So I've been looking at ways of what could be done. We don't control that, but grandma needs to get some money off of the tax abatement. She needs to get a break. So we need to look at new development and how it impacts the legacy people that's been in that community. And then we need to look at these big projects that we're investing in. Do they pay taxes? And then if they don't, who is picking up the tax bill? So that when we make a decision, I know at least for me, I'm not inadvertently doing something unintentionally that could hurt. You know, we're trying to keep the people we have and get more people in, not get rid of the people or replace those people. Right. So this is so, my point is this is so timely, and I'm excited to see what you come back with.
Great, thanks very much. You will hear from us again before we get done.
I have a couple comments. So I think it's a bit of a misnomer that the building of housing is primarily in the city. It was that way for many years, and as a board, we decided that we needed to expand out beyond the city limits. So, and the record will show that we are doing that. Your report was great.
Absolutely.
As I said, I like the part in the back where you had a schedule of when you're coming back for the commissioners for input. That was significant. And as you said earlier, this is all about economic impact. We need it now more than ever. And Alloy has just been so flexible with Hamilton County, such a great agency. I feel very confident in the work that you're doing, and looking forward to the report that's going to come forth after this. So thank you so much. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thanks for reaching out. I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay, our next order of business is the Women's Veterans Memorial. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, so you can introduce yourself.
I have dealt with that all my life. Don't even worry. Thank you. So first of all, thank you for giving me time on the agenda. And today we'll be discussing women veterans. So the timing is actually it's perfect because today is the final day of Women's History Month. So my name is Catherine Durkis, rhymes with circus, so that works. And I represent the National Society of Colonial Dames here in the state of Ohio. So let me go forward. There we go. The mission of the National Society of Colonial Dames, it's threefold. It's historic preservation, service, and education. We engage with the past, we inspire future generations, and try to understand our nation's complex history. We are a lineage society. So many are familiar with the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution. Our organization has lineage to those who gave leadership and service during the colonial period. So I like to think of it as having the ancestors who founded our country, because our end date is July 4, 1776. After that, you become a Daughter of the American Revolution. So here in Ohio, we steward 3 properties. The first on the left there is the Betts House. It is the oldest brick home in Cincinnati and one of the oldest in Ohio. It sits in the shadow of the TQL Stadium in the Betts-Longworth district. It is our headquarters for the state of Ohio. It is open for tours as well as a venue for meetings. So the Cincinnati Preservation Society and some others use our location for meetings. We also maintain the Kemper family log home that's pictured there. It's part of the historic village in Sharon Woods. And we also maintain a full gallery at the Cincinnati Art Museum. So last year, as our organization was looking forward to the 250th celebration of our nation, large and small projects were planned for each of these museum properties. And so you have the information. The Cincinnati Art Museum will have its big reveal in early May at our annual Talk and Tea, in which we bring in a curator to speak. There's a tea, and this is a public event. But with all of those plans in place, we really thought we were set for the 250th. Until at Memorial Day of 2025, at an event in the Eden Park, the Vietnam Veterans Chapter Number 10, they held their annual observance. And afterward, they were walking in the park, and the president of VVA Number 10 tripped over a marker in the ground. The marker states that it was placed by the National Society of Colonial Dames, and research revealed that it was placed on October 12th of 1985. So the marker honors women who have served our country from its beginnings to the current day. Now, women could not officially join the military until 1942, so it was after Pearl Harbor, but they have served our country beginning with the Revolutionary War. However, this marker is small in scale, and its appearance had definitely weathered over time. Further research about the original marker found that it was the first memorial in the United States. It predates the one in Columbus, if you're familiar with that one. It also precedes the large military women's memorial in Arlington by almost a decade. Featured here are the 3 women who led the way in honoring these veterans in 1985. The picture we do not have is of Lyda Montgomery. She was an Ohio colonial dame. She also served in World War II as a Navy wave. I am getting a photo from her daughter. We just don't have it yet. The chair of the day was Major Ruth Cheney Streeter, who became the first woman in the United States Marine Corps to achieve the rank of major. And then Sarah Keyes, who was the National Society of Colonial Dames State of Ohio president at the time. So we are now seeking to create a memorial that reflects the significance of women's contributions in permanent recognition of the service, the sacrifice, the leadership, and the love of country that we are going to celebrate here in 2026. And the new plaque will read, "Women have exhibited unwavering dedication and service to our nation in times of both peace and war. Their service defends our freedom, advances equality, and inspires future generations." And we're going to take a moment, and I want to just highlight some significant contributions from the Revolutionary War to present. Some of these stories may be more familiar than others. But first up is Deborah Sampson. She served in the Revolutionary War when she disguised herself as a man and joined the 4th Massachusetts Regiment. Her secret was discovered, but she actually received an honorable discharge from the Army for her service. In the Civil War, Clara Barton and Harriet Tubman, both 2 very well-known figures from the Civil War period. In World War I, there is Grace Banker, who's in the top photo, and she was the chief operator of the U.S. Signal Corps. And also Elizabeth Smith Friedman, featured in the lower photo, she was the top cryptanalyst during World War I, dismantling espionage networks without even firing a shot. As we move forward to World War II, Charity Adams, commanding officer of the 688 of Netflix fame, if you know the special from Netflix, and played by Kerry Washington. Charity Adams is also an Ohio resident. Jacqueline Cochran was the wartime head of WASP, the Women Air Force Service Pilots. In Vietnam, Ohio resident Sharon Ann Lane, she was a nurse and awarded the Bronze Star for her heroism during service, and the only servicewoman killed by fire in that war. By enemy fire, in that war. In the Iraq War, Leanne Hester from Kentucky, a member of the Kentucky National Guard, became the first woman in the Army to receive the Silver Star for valor in combat. And coming to the present day, Nicola Moore was killed at the beginning of this month in a drone strike that hit her base. It is these stories and the many, many more, both known and unknown, that we seek to memorialize. The memorial will be placed in Eden Park alongside the existing memorial, but it will have its own walkway leading up from Eden Park Drive. In December, the Colonial Dames partnered with Artworks to create a national call for artists. We received 66 submissions from across the country for this memorial, and at this point we are at 2 semifinalists who remain under consideration. I was hoping today that I would have that news for you, but at the art jury meeting last week, we did not reach a final decision. We eliminated 1 of 3, and we are at these 2. So that decision is forthcoming. To be honest, we have been working at warp speed. This project started really in September 20th of 2025 when the board of the Colonial Dames said, yes, we would like to do something. We would like to move forward in a meaningful way. and we would like to do a presentation. It'll be this November 11th, this Veterans Day of 2026 in Eden Park. So we are proud that Cincinnati is home to the first memorial in the United States to honor women veterans. We are also proud to partner with local community, especially our veterans organizations, to create a meaningful new monument to honor women's contributions in service of our country. So today I am here to ask for your support in celebrating and raising awareness for the memorial. Colonial Dames, we are a small organization. So is VVA chapter number 10. So getting the word out is one of our biggest challenges about what is happening, and especially about the event on November 11th. When I speak, a lot of times what I ask is, who do you know that needs to know about this? And that's the people that we need to add into our communication pipeline. So we are looking specifically, that we hope that you would consider attending on Veterans Day in Eden Park. And I certainly can get all of that information to you. I would like your help with promoting the memorial through county communications. And then as well, sharing any advice that you might have on connecting with local veterans groups. We've been doing the best we can, but you may know better some people that we can reach out to. So I will probably, after this meeting, I will circle back with the contact information I have to make sure I have everybody's email address, that you all have this, that I can continue to send you updates so that you know about what we are doing. So that concludes my presentation about what we're doing. And I apologize if there's any choppiness, because I really wanted to keep it to 10 minutes. So there was time for me to answer any questions that you may have about what we're doing. And again, just thank you for the opportunity to let the Colonial Dames make a presentation today to you.
Thank you for your presentation. When you think about how much it costs to make this happen, what's your budget?
So it's the $64,000 question, because this project has not followed the usual timeline where you go out, you talk to an artist, you get a budget, you know what you need, you go out, you fundraise, and all of that. We basically have been doing everything all at the same time. So the Colonial Dames will make the largest and the lead gift to support the project. We now do have, from the proposals reviewed last week, 2 budgets from the artists. They vary widely. One is 3 times the price of the other. Trying to understand that and wrap our arms around it. We have already, this is the most unique, I've worked on many projects. This is the most unique one I've ever worked on, where people hand me money without me even asking for it. So we are not concerned at this point about the funding that we will need. I mean, we've partnered with Cincinnati Parks, with the foundation, with the Cincinnati Park commissioners. They're all aware of this project. I didn't mention it in the presentation, but they are all aware of what we're doing. And there's enough financial support behind what we're doing. We're hosting a fundraising event on June 13th in honor of Flag Day, and we're using it as a fundraiser for the memorial. And at this point, I think we will reach our fundraising goals.
Awesome.
So,
That's great. We hardly hear that. So,
yeah, exactly. Yes. That's what a lot of what, the main purpose of me being here today really is informational, to let you know this is happening. It's happening right here in the county. It's happening right up the road. And not only that, we have the first memorial. And that's something Cincinnati and Hamilton County should be very proud of, that 3 women, 3 Colonial Dames in 1985 blazed that trail, and we are really standing on their shoulders today, picking up, on what their leadership to put in a memorial that will be of the scale that represents the significance of these contributions.
Awesome. Vice President Rice.
Yeah, I want to pick up right there. This is huge, and I am so excited about it. 1, because the history, and then 2, first in the entire country, showing leadership coming from right here. That's huge. So I am super excited about it. Certainly want to be helpful. Couple things I just off the top of mind for it. one is we have a county, this is our third year doing it, we have a county-wide Veterans Appreciation event that we do, honoring all veterans and military service. We provide services and help for veterans and their families and widows. And this year it will be August 15th, and it'll be at TQL. We've done it at Great American Ballpark. We've done it at Sawyer Point now there. I would want to connect you or make sure you're connected with our Veterans Services Commission, because I think that this warrants you being there, having a booth or something. It's no cost, all of this is free, but this is something that we're gonna have a couple thousand veterans. We've had 3,000 and 4,000 people show up before. So definitely you should be involved in that. So I'd ask Mr. Aludo and our team to connect you with the Veteran Services folks if you're not already gonna be there.
So already connected with them.
Yes.
So I have presented to the Veterans Commissioners already, the Veteran Services Commissioners. Did that like a little over a month ago. So they are aware and are, of course, just very supportive of everything. But I will circle back. Glenn Willig, I think, is their executive director.
Glenn Wellington, yeah.
And I'll reach out to him about the August 15th event following this and just make sure that we're part of that conversation.
Yeah, because you'll reach a lot of veterans to know about this is coming up.
Right.
And I think that would be great for
we will be in Columbus for the Ohio State Veterans Conference on August 8th. We have a table there as well.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, we just keep chipping away at the exposure and communication of this project.
Absolutely. So that would be my my only thing. I think obviously through them and with us, communications, our folks, I'm sure we would be more than willing to help get the information out. And my office personally will help get if you send it to us, we'll send it out through the channels that we have as well. But this is a big deal, a huge deal. And even if you have, like, I'm thinking, I'm a marketer by trade, so my mind is,
Sorry?
I'm a marketer by trade, so my
Gotcha.
mind is kind
Yes.
of going. But even on the August 15th, you have a booth, but there may be an opportunity to even do more, to get this out, at least down here in this area. I know we do a press thing or press, and maybe that might be something that would be worthy of announcing along in conjunction with that.
And the project will be so much more down the road by
Yeah.
August. I mean, there'll be a lot more to announce. I mean, part of what, like I said, we've been doing everything at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but we'll have a lot more information by August to share.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Now, let me ask you one quick question about this memorial. I understand the walkway and the plaque. You showed some statues. Is that what they're looking to do, or is it?
So this will be most likely a figurative statue
Oh, good.
in bronze. And if in the picture where you saw, this is the part of Eden Park where the Vietnam Veterans Memorial statue is.
Yeah.
It's just closer to the overpass walkway as you head into Eden Park. So it's within the park. We've talked with Human Nature, who did a lot of that park design. So each memorial will have its own walkway, is how it's set up. So and the Vietnam Veterans Chapter Number 10, they could be nothing but supportive about having another memorial in the park. So there's no issue there.
Gotcha. Okay. And then lastly, like you said, we're trying to get it out to everybody. We have, I guess, largely, I met them last year. American Legion Post 644 is predominantly women.
It's one of only 3 all-women legions
Yes.
in the United States, and it's here in Cincinnati.
Yes. So I'm sure you're with them. I'm not sure, but
I presented to them in December.
Awesome.
Yes,
You're,
yes.
you're
and they
already
are,
on the.
They are all, yes, they are on board with us as well. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Yes.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It is interesting and refreshing to know that you don't need any support financially from the county because you've got that taken care of. And I can only imagine how people want to be supportive of this project. I mean, that's really
Yes,
great.
we're very fortunate.
So also we'll offer to push the information out per my office. and I'm sure all three of us will be happy to do that. So make sure we have the links, information that we need in order to do that through social media and the things that we've got access to. I too was going to ask about the design. I'm glad it's going to be a figure.
Most likely,
It
yes.
seems most appropriate
seems
that it
most
is, and I'm familiar with that area too with the other statues, so it sounds like a great memorial. The other, so I was going to mention the VSC too, but you're already keyed into Glenn Welling and the VSC, so that's wonderful. We also have a Commission on Women and Girls in Hamilton County that might be interested in lending just support and, again, pushing this information out. Mary Mounty is the director of the Commission on Women and Girls, and so I'll make sure that you have her contact information, and potentially there's a way to just kind of push out the information more broadly to young people and to some of the participants in that organization. So thanks so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Austin Brantley statues, where is that located?
I would need to look on his website to tell you for sure. We just put in a sample of each of their work.
It's beautiful.
It is. It is. And both one of the artists, I will tell you, is local to the area. The other one is local to the state.
Okay.
So both of these are, have an investment, a local investment for this to go really, really well. So
Very good.
so out of all of those national submissions, this is what the art jury blindly picked, was a local one and a state one.
That's something. And they talk about multitasking doesn't work, but you're an example that it does. You're doing everything all at once. So continue the great work that you're doing. I'm excited about it. And as a board, we will have a unified front to address what's coming up, so everybody will know. So thank you so much.
Well, we are grateful. Thank you all. All right. Very good.
Can I ask her too?
Sure.
You may have already done this, but our clerk of courts is a veteran, Pavan Parikh, his office. They're dealing with our 250 as a county. So I just want to make sure that's included with the 250 of what we're doing. And then Scott Crowley, who is our recorder, he is also a veteran, and we want to make sure that he maintains all the records, the historical records. So want to make sure that you're connected with their offices as well.
Okay.
I think would be appropriate. And to my board members, I have asked, and I will ask Mr. Ludo again, that our veterans piece be included in the 250 celebration. So veterans would be a big component, but those two offices are heavily involved, and I think that would be a good
Planning for the county. No, that's great.
Say that Connie Pillage is also.
Oh, yes.
So, right. So,
Prosecutor's office, so.
well, Connie sits on my advisory committee. Yes. And actually, it was through her that I got to all of you. She said, let me set you up with somebody to talk to, and it was somebody's staff person. Yes. Anyway, so yes. Like I said, it's been amazing as I talk about it. The reactions, your reactions today, this is universally the reaction as I speak with people. And like when I talked, for example, with Connie, I got a meeting with her in the office, and the answer was just yes. And so it's been fantastic in that way. So, all right, thank you all again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, next item on our agenda, we have someone on virtual, Rachel Massoud from, you have her on there, CCAO, and she's going to discuss a review of legislation and funding regarding SNAP. And I think this is just another element that we talked about through the board that we want to educate people in the community about when we look down further and may have to have a levy. I'm pretty positive we will, but that she can let us know some of the current issues that are taking place in Ohio. Rachel, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just
Okay, great. Thank you so much for inviting me, Madam President and Commissioners. I do have a presentation. I'm not sure if the slides will be able to be up, but we had an update on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, more commonly known as...
Rachel, can I interrupt for a second? Are we able
Sure.
to pull the signs up? Yeah, we will be able to, so good, so the
Okay.
residents that are watching, yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So you can go ahead and move 2 slides ahead. Thank you. We have had the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP as it's more commonly known, is our food assistance program for Ohioans and across the nation. It is a long-standing program, and this past summer, it received some of the biggest changes to the administration of it in the history of the program. So at the County Commissioners Association, we have been talking a lot about these changes as counties administer the program in Ohio. So this slide shows you a brief recap of what those changes were. There's 2 components. So historically, the federal government has matched state and county investment at 50%. That will be dropping to 25% beginning October 1st of 2026. And that is going to result in an estimated $51 million loss to counties on an annual basis. The state also has a loss from that as well, but for the county perspective, it's $51 million lost for administration of SNAP benefits. Additionally, for the first time in the history of the program, states could be required to pay a portion of the SNAP benefit cost. So when I talk about the benefit cost, I mean the actual dollars that are going on to the cards that Ohioans are using to buy food. And historically, the federal government have picked up the entirety of that tab. Now, if states are unable to get their air rate below 6%, they will be required to pay a portion of that benefit cost. And so I will talk a little bit more about the air rate in a few slides and what that means. But on the next slide, you can see what that penalty payment could be to Ohio. In Ohio, we have about $3.2 billion coming into our state and our economy every year through the SNAP program. So if we have to pay a 5, 10, or 15% penalty, you can see what those amounts would be. And if you do one more click, you can see where we were at our last federal fiscal year. We do anticipate hopefully being lower than this. We were at about 9% for our air rate. Ohio historically performs very well among county administered states. We are pretty consistently at or below the national average for air rates. We run a very efficient program here. This is a new way to administer the system, a new penalty that is being put in place, and we are all working together to figure out how to solve it. So on the next slide, I'm going to recap legislation that's been passed at the state legislature so far as a result of these changes. So in November, the legislature passed a bill, House Bill 434, that included funding for the state portion of the administrative costs for the remainder of the state fiscal year 2027. So the period from October 1, when that administrative cost match is going to decrease, to June 30, the end of the state fiscal year. And then it will be revisited again in the state budget process that will begin in February of 2027. It also included some funding for the Ohio Benefits IT system, which is the system that the counties and the state use to administer the program. It's the system that the caseworkers use to input eligibility information and do the calculations for how much a household should receive in SNAP. It also requires a new quality control program to determine county by county air rates that will be performed at the county level, which I will discuss further on a future slide. And at that time, there was no additional funding for counties included. So on the next slide, House Bill 730, and I apologize, there's a typo. It passed this month and will hopefully be signed by the governor soon. It included $10 million in state general revenue funding for county JFS agencies to help with the county portion of the loss, with the 25% federal match that will be available. It will be a total of $12.5 million. For that 9-month period from October 1 to June 30, counties are looking at about a $38 million loss. So this $12.5 million is not going to completely fill that hole, of course, but we are very appreciative to the state for appropriating some dollars to help us. Each county JFS agency will receive about $226,486 or their entire projected loss, whichever is less. And the projected loss is calculated from that October to June time period. So we are awaiting Governor DeWine's signature. Hamilton County's loss is, the projected loss is much greater than that $226,000. So I will move to the next slide. I want to talk a little bit about error rate to help paint a picture. So the error rate is a calculation of how many incorrect payment amounts we have made to a SNAP recipient. So that could be over or under the amount that they should have received. We have a $58 buffer on either side. So if it's within a $58 difference, it doesn't count towards the error rate. And it does include both client and county JFS worker errors. So if a client mistakenly gives us information that affected the calculation, or if the county caseworker performs the calculation incorrectly, or the system performs the calculation incorrectly, those all count towards what an error is. It's important to note that even before HR 1 passed, we have always had quality control mechanisms, and if errors were found, they are corrected, and they have always been able to be corrected. So if you receive an underpayment, you would receive additional payment in your next benefit, or if you received overpayment, you would receive less, or perhaps that would be recouped. So there's always been a mechanism to correct. This is just there's now going to be this new penalty that deals with the benefit costs. On the next slide, this is a summary of what information can cause an error. I like to talk about it in terms of, you're building the household budget. So there are lots of different things that go into a household budget, lots of different pieces that can be input and can affect the calculation. On the next slide, we have a summary of the most common errors that we have seen from the state. You can see failure to report an income, household composition, failure to report a job. It's incorrect money used as a budget and incorrect credit for expenses. It's more complex than you think to accurately provide some of this information as well. People may be working multiple jobs, multiple shifts, picking up overtime, and it can get pretty complicated. Household composition as well. So these are common things that we see in our eligibility process. On the next slide, and I will have you do 2 clicks. I wanted to note that the last time Ohio was under that 6% threshold was prior to the introduction of our new Ohio benefits system. So this is a task that our caseworkers are working very diligently towards, but it has been since that 2017 federal fiscal year since we've been under that 6%. And then my next slide, I talk about the federal quality control process and the county process. So our state job and family services agency does a quality control check where they randomly select 1,020 cases each year, and they work that case just like a caseworker would from beginning to end and find if there were any errors. And then that is used to calculate those numbers that I just showed you, those federal fiscal year error rates. We're going to have a new county process that will start actually next week. On, I believe, April 6th, the Eeyore County and all of the counties in the state will be given between 15, 20, or 25 cases per month. Hamilton will get 25 cases that they will have to do a desk review of and work this process, relook at the case, see if there were any errors made, and then use the state's reporting system to report that to the state. And they will be giving a quarterly report to the General Assembly on what the county by county errors are from that. Just a couple of other quick updates that President Dumas asked me to give you can go 2 slides ahead actually. In the Medicaid space, also from HR 1, we will be doing eligibility redeterminations every 6 months now instead of every 12 months. The SNAP program is already on a 6-month redetermination schedule. So beginning December 31st, 2026, we will be doing every 6-month redetermination for Medicaid recipients as well. And on the following slide, you'll see Ohio will be implementing the HR 1 work requirement. We do not have CMS guidance on that yet. We are hoping for that this summer. We are working very closely with our national associations as well to monitor and make sure that the counties are prepared to implement that new process. And then you can go 2 additional slides, please. Thank you. Couple of child welfare updates, which has been a priority of the association as well. From a policy perspective, a few things implemented in the budget. We have a new rate card process that is still being determined. The idea is that children's services providers will report their costs and what they are charging to counties for different levels of service, and that will be publicly available and transparent. It is unlikely to provide a big change in the cost of placement, but it will hopefully help us with some transparency measures. The governor announced that there have been 6 child wellness campuses selected. These are campuses that are going to be used for short-term crisis placement of youth entering children's services custody or at risk of entering children's services custody. Happy to say that Hamilton County was selected to have the Talbert House will be operating a child wellness campus to serve Hamilton County children. And the Medicaid multi-system youth program in the budget, which is designed to help prevent custody relinquishment. So parents or guardians willingly relinquishing custody to the county because they are unable to pay for services otherwise. These dollars in Medicaid are designed to prevent that process. Fortunately, the money that was appropriated in the budget has already run out for this fiscal year. And so it is currently paused and will resume in July. So the counties could see some changes from that. On the next slide, you'll see a map of where the child wellness campuses are planned. This was the first year of child wellness campus money, and there will be a second year as well. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you so much for the time, commissioners.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel. Most of this information, Commissioner Driehaus, as president of CCAO, has heard, and I'm on the Human Services Committee, and I've heard it, but I thought it was significant to let our audience hear it, and those who have not heard this, the nuances of what's coming. Commissioner Greenhouse, would you like to say a word?
Well, sure. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Thank you for participating in our meeting. I agree that the more people that understand the dynamics here, the better, because we've made some progress with the legislature in getting some money to help with this change in the federal distribution of who pays for the administrative cost. We did not get as much as we had hoped for, but it is something. It's, as I said in my testimony, it's better than zero. And so we're grateful for that. And when you look at statewide, some of the counties were made whole, and so we are grateful for that. But this idea, and I wanted to focus, if I can ask my question, on the error rate piece, this is a real concern, especially given the numbers, Rachel, that you showed us with the history of where our error rate has been in the last few years, and most recently in the category where we would, as a state, owe $321 million. That's a striking number. It pales in comparison to the 58 million we're trying to cover right now through the administrative cost. So I don't know if you know the answer to this. I don't have a sense of it. We'll continue to worry about it though. As you look at that error rate calculation, that 321 million, do you anticipate that would be spread across all counties in the state of Ohio, or rather would the state focus in on the specific error rates per county and make some kind of calculation where those counties that have higher error rates would bear more of the burden of the cost as opposed to the counties that have a lesser than 6 error rate?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. I think it's unknown what the plan would be right now. So assessing any of that 321 million on counties at all would require a state statute change. We do not have a mechanism to do that. Again, this is the first time in history that the state is going to be dealing with a potential benefit penalty. And again, we hope that we can get under 6% and avoid that altogether. I do think that, of course, there is a reason that the state would like to see those county by county error rates and that new process that they have required to be developed. I think that in the conversations that I've had, there has been talk about hoping to get the counties that maybe have higher error rates some support, training, any other things that they might need to help bring that error rate down. There has not been explicit discussion about how they would pass a benefit cost on to counties. There have been questions in public hearings about, well, if the state is going to have a penalty, should the state just administer the system? I think anytime that you have massive changes in a program like this, you are going to look at system delivery and you're going to have these questions. This is definitely something that's going to be considered in the next state budget and something that we have to watch and think about. But right now, there's no answer to your question, and they haven't made it clear to us what they're planning to do.
Right, so we've got a couple of different options here where the state covers the cost or they try to pass that down, and they need to do some work there in order to make that happen. So yeah, it's just troubling one way or the other. I mean, it's just concerning. And just to put a finer point on it, these error rates fluctuate a lot. Even in one county, like you can have an error rate of say 9, with one set, and then the next time they do this calculation, and is it monthly? Next time they do the monthly calculation, they've picked up a different sampling of cases, and your error rate can be 0. And so it really is a moment in time kind of thing. And as you said, and I want to highlight it, the errors are often errors that are caused by the clients. Because the information they're providing is confusing, and they provide inaccurate information. And so it's very difficult to react to that as a county, even though our employees are doing the best they can. If they don't have accurate information, they've got an error. So I'm very, very troubled by that dynamic too. And I have talked to the administrator and the interim director at JFS enough to know that we are trying diligently to keep these error rates down, whether this happens or not. It's always going to be to our benefit to keep those error rates down. But as you say, the state plays a part in this, and we've got this system that's difficult to manage. And so I'm glad that the state, in recognition of that, is looking at their system that we have to administer through as part of the piece of the puzzle. So thank you. I have no further questions. We've talked quite a bit about this at the CCAO meetings. It is one of our highest concerns and priorities as an organization, along with some of the other things that are concerning for us, including child welfare, child care, and some of the other things that are impacted by JFS. But Commissioner, I appreciate you bringing it forward to the benefit of anyone that's watching and anyone that's in the room, so that everyone's up to speed as to what these concerns are and what the impact might be to Hamilton County.
Thank you. Thank you. Vice President Reese.
Yeah, I just want to join. Thanks for having this on the agenda today, President Dumas and Commissioner Driehaus, who is the president of the CCAO, and you're up there in the room fighting on these issues. We met with our delegation, and this was one of the topics that we brought up, but we really, really need our delegation, not just one side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle. This is a people's issue. One of the things, and when you talk about error, you're asking for perfection. And just from my own faith, this week is a special week. My faith says that no one can be perfect. And so when you set up asking people to be perfect, you're setting up for immediate failure. There could be a computer glitch that could cause a problem. And we've had that before. Computer systems go down. It could be the fact that a lot of these folks they're going from pillar to post trying to survive. So to say your utility information might be one way for that month, but might be, just for example, utilities have gone up. And so you can make an error. Folks, utility bills are up almost 40%, I hear. And I've seen it on my own bill. What I had before ain't the bill I got this month. So to have a staff of humans that we're hiring to be able to put in the right information, but you're almost asking them to be investigators. And I don't know, Mr. Ludo maybe could talk about that. We don't have enough staff to be investigating. You almost got to stay in the home of the person, following the person. What's their utility information? The other thing is shelter and rent information. Some people are unhoused. Some of them living in a motel. So they may live in that motel and pay week to week, but now they're in a different motel. And by the time the information, it's not a Cash App program where you hit a button and the money come right then. The government takes a while. So you may be in a different motel because you couldn't afford the one you were in, or you're in a different facility. So that could lead to error, especially now when things are just even rougher than ever before. Wage information. We're hearing every day people losing their jobs. I don't think we talk enough about it. People are losing their jobs. When they come in and say a company is wiping out, I mean, you're hearing Amazon's laying off, and all these, I hear driving the Uber now is not as, they're taking more fees out of it, so it's not lucrative. So the wage is people are living day to day, not even paycheck to paycheck, day to day. And this is the group that we're capturing. So I don't understand how there has to be so much pressure on the already, we've got as much staff as we can, but the pressure of them being perfect. Any system that calls for perfection, I'll tell you, is a system that's calling for failures. No one is perfect. Now, of course, if you got somebody purposely doing something, they got a system to deal with them. But we're talking about human error. You even have on here, you said math error due to rounding. We're talking about pennies. If it's supposed to be 99 cents and you made it into $1, that's an error. This is unattainable. So I'm hoping, and I appreciate the work of CCAO, but I'm calling on all state people to be raising all kind of hell. Use every tactic you can to hold this thing up, because this is just not attainable. Not to mention all the things you talked about, what it's going to cost us as a county. We're already paying for unfunded mandates. We're in a box right now because we got to do things by state law that they never sent state money for. And now we're just talking about people having something to eat. I mean, how cruel can you be? You don't want somebody to have nothing to eat. And as we go into my Holy Week, I mean, this is just not what we're about, where people can't have nothing to eat. So I appreciate you bringing this. Then you go into the Medicaid. Medicaid, you would have to reevaluate every 12 months. This is a lot of paperwork. People don't understand for this to eligible for Medicaid. But now you're talking every 6 months. Well, a lot of times it's hard to get an appointment with the doctor. Sometimes you got to book 3 months in advance. And then sometimes when they follow up with you, there's a follow-up, and some of it is life and death. They say, you got to get this medicine or you going down. I met someone, they said the cancer pill is $3,000 per pill if they want to live. $3,000 a pill, and they say take 2 pills a day. This is real. And now you're saying 6 months, you're going to have to keep doing a lot of paperwork. This is insane. So folks that are listening, and then the 1 hour work requirement. I want to know who's hiring for 1 hour. I mean, I went to, White Castles. Probably shouldn't have went that day, but I just was craving it. And AI was taking my order. It used to be a person, now AI. And then AI got there and tried to sell me more hamburgers than I had ordered. But AI now is taking over at the fast food restaurants. So they're laying off. And then you have a number of restaurants that's closing around the country, including here. They just had a big story about it. I don't know anybody's hiring anybody for, you have an 1 hour work requirement. It's hard for people that's got jobs that ain't on these programs to get jobs. The jobs are not out there. So just if you can't get it and they not hiring, that's another thing that could hurt. And I know it sounds good. All these people need to get up and they need to be working. Half the people on these programs already working. They just ain't getting enough money. They're not having enough money. I went to Kroger's yesterday. I didn't get no meat. And it cost me $45. I said, dang, I didn't get no chicken. No. It's just going up. I didn't buy any bread. No chicken and no bread. And it cost me $40. So those are things, I'm glad you're bringing these to our attention, to the people's attention. But people better wake up. It matters. Representation matters. And they got to wake up, and I'm glad CCAO is in it. But I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, you're a human being. And we have got to, there's no way we can have a perfect system. And then we have people that we hire, then we got to rehire and train them. I mean, it's just unrealistic. So I agree with my board and agree with CCAO, and the state is ridiculous. So thank you for the update. But if we have to do something, I don't know, Commissioner Driehaus, if there's anything as a resolution we need from this board or what have you, let us know. And I think it'd be great for us as a county, Hamilton County Board, to go on some kind of record with some type of resolution, and let us know, and I'll be willing to definitely support it.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple comments. My concerns are the same as my colleagues' concerns. I'm troubled by the desk review. John, if you could just come up for 1 second, our interim director, troubled by the desk review that's being done, that will have to be done by our staff. I had just a question about who actually does the review when they choose the 25 cases.
Yeah, Commissioner, so it's been designed as a peer review. So we'll be done by other JFS staff. So it'll be, so it's 25 for urban counties. So ours will be 25 So it'll be done by peer, and there's an appeals process as well. So if we disagree with the results of a desk review, we can appeal it and basically go through the appeals process. So there's some recourse, but really the challenge, even with a desk review like that, if all those 25 cases are bad cases, when you're pulling from a pool of hundreds and thousands of cases, and if those 25 cases just happen to be all cases with errors in it, then of course your error rate's going to skyrocket. So it's a really complicated situation, but it is better than what we have right now. Right now, we looked at the way they're calculating error rate now, and that was not statistically significant. So at least now with this 25 case situation, it would be a statistical sample at least, and we have a little bit more confidence in that process.
So John, when you say a peer review process, are these case managers that are doing this, or do you have a peer review department?
So it will be basically case managers and caseworkers from other counties as well.
Okay, and that's my concern, because they're already overloaded with cases, and then they have to stop to do the review. So, but we'll do what we can do. I was at a board meeting last Friday, and I talked to John, and our error rate is going down right now. And as you were saying, it's dependent on the cases that are picked.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I was wondering, John, the last question for me is, when you look at error rate, do you have a column that says worker error rate versus informant?
Yeah, Commissioner, so this new system actually does have a delineation on that, which is like based on, client provided information as well. So it does make some delineation in that as well. So that's also helpful, I think, in making a case that, it's client generated error versus, staff generated. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Rachel, I appreciate you being so flexible and coming in so quickly. Is she on there? Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. If there's anything I can do to be of assistance, please feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, hold on, Rachel.
Just a couple of quick questions. Rachel, I've got you on the line. So the commissioners were bringing up, and I think John also hit on the issue of county versus client error. You had mentioned also in your presentation the issue of system error. Can you comment a little bit on the delineation of that right now? Are those being lumped under county errors, or are we somehow being held harmless from that?
They are being held under county errors. So I want to illustrate what kind of this means. So our system can at times be clunky, and we have what's called workarounds. So when the system doesn't do what it should do, there are workarounds that caseworkers are expected to know how to do and perform. If there is a workaround for an issue, it will be counted as a county error under the county by county policy quality control program. So to illustrate for you all what that means, I'm thinking maybe there's a handful of errors. We received a spreadsheet from the state. There are over 800 workarounds that caseworkers are expected to know how to do. And if they do not do them, it will be counted as a county error. You will note that I said that the state gave the Department of Job and Family Services additional funding for Ohio benefits upgrades. We are hoping that some of that will be used to work on the system and lessen some of these. It's a problem that we've been working on with the state for many years. Having over 800 workarounds in a technology system is not acceptable. So we continue to have dialogue with the state, but to your point, Administrator Ludo, yes, it will be counted as a county error is our understanding.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about, but what I may have expected also. Rachel, just last question. I think there was some efforts by NACO and some others working at the federal level to try to get some sort of additional cushion on the October 1st, 2027 benefit error rate pass along. Have you heard anything about that at this point? Is there any traction with that effort? To the commissioner's point again about things that we can do and weigh in on legislatively, is there any existing effort that we should be tapping into there at this point?
That is our continued message to our federal partners. Our congressional delegation is to ask for a delay in implementation to allow us to continue to work on our quality control measures. I don't think I mentioned in my remarks, but for a long time, the federal government was focusing on timeliness as the main metric that they wanted us to work on. And so now we're doing this hard, quick pivot to quality control. We're always doing both, but limited staff, you have to kind of sometimes pick and choose what your main focus is on. So that's been our argument to Congress is, for years you were saying timeliness, timeliness, timeliness. Now we're pivoting to quality control. Can we get an extension? To my knowledge, those conversations are not moving very far with our DC partners, but we continue to make that ask, and any support that the county can provide in that would definitely be welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, hold on, Rachel. One other question.
One more question. I don't know, Rachel, if this is for you or to your knowledge. You said it's not moving very fast. Is there any group or out there that's looking to, I don't know, file an injunction or something to try to get us more time? Are we at that point yet, or we're not at that point, or is anybody doing that?
I have not heard of anything to that in that respect, Vice President Reese, but I will check with my contacts in our national association and some of the other national associations that we're working with, and I will get back to you if that if there actually is something going on, but I haven't heard anything to that effect at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, again. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good to see you.
Last item on our agenda is drone technology and stormwater. Please come forward. Hi. And introduce your crew.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mohammed Islam, and with me today is Keegan McVeigh. We are with Planning and Development Stormwater Program. So we are here to show you our drone that we just bought and how we can use it to enhance our stormwater program. Okay. Again, thank you. Appreciate the time given to us to come and present this program. I have a presentation. So the core function of a stormwater division under the planning and development is we do maintain a lot of public storm sewer system. We maintain a lot of fire hydrants in the 12th township of Hamilton County. We have flood control channels that we maintain by cutting grasses, keeping it smooth, removing debris so they don't block and flood neighborhoods. And we also do storm sewer construction inspection in new developments and redevelopment projects. So we thought that we want to invest in a drone to make these inspections more efficient. And we are thinking, okay, how we want to do that? In January 2026, we bought a drone. And we identified 3 areas that we can immediately use this drone to make it more efficient program. So the first one, if you look at this, is called outfall inspection. These are all head walls. They are located over the hillside, near the stream, not easily accessible, and a lot of these fails on the spring thaw. Most of these are installed 30, 40 years ago, and in order to inspect all these, we have to send inspectors out into the hillside. They have to climb down, go to the stream, inspect those, condition assessment, and creates a dangerous situation for them. So the first application will be we can use drone to preliminary assess these conditions of these head walls and figure out what next actions we have to take. And then we can prioritize the improvement project as we want to maintain this program. The second image is a construction inspection. We can use drones to use overall progress of the construction projects and any issues that we see will be coming, so we can prioritize these things. And the third is the most important thing, the storm sewer mapping. We have almost 200 miles of storm sewer that we maintain in 12 Township, Hamilton County. And those are not mapped yet because those are 50, 60, 70 years old storm sewers. So right now we're mapping these. We have a project. We send inspectors out with the GPS equipment. They walk down each and every structure and locate these points. We can use the drone to locate these points much easily and with less manpower. Why we need it? Faster data collection. It will allow us to inspect structures hard to reach over the hillside with the dangerous situations. We cannot send an inspector out. We'll send the drone out to capture the images and we can assess it back in the office. Monitor drainage system for potential issues. Identify structure failure. So those are all important things that we think we can use the drone for our advantage. So the traditional inspection, go to the next slide. So the difference between a traditional inspection and drone-assisted inspection. Traditional inspection methods are time-consuming, and it requires, we need to send a couple of people out to do an inspection. With the drone, we can send only one person. They can take the drone out, fly over, take the images, come back to the office, and we can assess those. Drone will require only one person. Reduce field labor cost. Instead of sending a couple of people, we can send only one person with the drone. So we are saving manpower. And the most important thing is enhance the safety of the field crew. And most of our structures, as you see, they are over the hillside, near the creek, in flood-prone areas, and we don't want to send people down there, so we can send the drone out and look at it. The drone that we bought, and I'll invite Keegan to come over and explain what the features of the drones are and what are the enhancement of this drone.
On this slide, you're looking at the drone we selected for our department is the Skydio X10. Skydio is a US-based company that manufactures their drones in California. And as you may have heard, the Federal Communications Commission has recently prohibited government agencies from purchasing new drones that are manufactured in China or other foreign countries. And our choice for the X10 was twofold. It reflects the new regulatory restrictions, and it meets the needs of our department. The drone has a strong balance of features, versatility, and reliability. It allows us to perform well across a wide range of conditions, including variable weather, which is critical for our operations. It's capable of supporting not only the needs we've already identified, but also future use cases as they arise. That flexibility was another factor in our decision. And of course, safety and advanced technology were two of the biggest drivers behind our decision. The X10 is AI powered. It allows a drone to operate with minimal manual control, and it makes flying safer. Drone operators, they have to be FAA certified for commercial use, and our department plans to expand beyond a single operator, making it easier to use, especially important to us. It features obstacle avoidance technology, state-of-the-art. It allows for safe flight in complex or cluttered environments like tree-covered areas. And real-time 3D mapping visualizes the environment. It basically creates a 3D model of its surroundings as it flies. And one of the most impressive features of this drone is its sophisticated sensor system, including 6 navigation cameras positioned on top and bottom, supports stable flight and obstacle awareness. And the sensor package, or the payload, it includes 2 high-resolution cameras and 1 thermal camera. And the system is modular, so it means it can be swapped out or reconfigured as our needs evolve. And this image you see here is an example of thermal imaging. And the different colors here represent the variations in the temperature as what the drone sees. For example, the dark blue areas indicate the colder areas, standing water. The purple represents the dirt, exposed ground. And then you have warmer regions such as the trees and the machinery appearing in orange. The X10, it boasts a remarkable future-proof design. In the future, our operators could control the drone from an office rather than being on site, essentially flying missions from anywhere in the county and just over a laptop. And finally, this is a short video taken recently. It's a subdivision under development in Miami Township. So you can see the videos are synchronized and it shows you the thermal imaging in the upper right. That's all I have.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Very good. Thank you for the presentations. I was going to ask the request for dispatching the drones, where does it come from? Individuals, companies, what? Where do you get your request to use the drone?
You have to be a certified drone operator first.
Okay.
To get the drone. It's a commercial drone. So is that?
Well, my question is, if you were going to use the drone for this purpose, would somebody send in an application and say they want you to use a drone? Does the department itself decide where the drone will be used?
The department decides where the drone will be used.
Okay.
Because most of our drone, we will use it for our own inspection purposes.
Okay.
It's for the public infrastructure, so we will send this drone out to do a preliminary surveying of the public infrastructure to see whether they need further maintenance on it.
Okay, in the process of development, I'm thinking about going beyond what you guys use it for. For instance, there are a lot of people that develop housing. They don't realize that underneath there's this big sewer pipe or whatever. And I'm just wondering if there could be some expansion where even individually, of course, they would pay. But can you come out and see if there's a sewer underneath and they don't find out until it's too late? So that might be something you may think of doing. I think it's very awesome for sure. James knew what I would have asked anyway. I look at the table about why you should use a drone versus not using a drone. It makes a lot of sense to me. So you look at exposed and unexposed areas, correct? So you talk about the miles of sewers that we have. So I could see that could be exhaustive, but how much is the cost for the drone?
It's about 23, the whole package.
How much?
23,000.
Oh.
It's a whole package. So the drone itself is about 16,000, and then there are accessories that we have, an infrared camera, some other accessories that we need for our purpose of work. So the total package with the software and everything is about 23,000.
Okay, I thought it would be more. I don't know why, but I'm glad that's what it is. Had you thought about possibly purchasing another one, or this is in the trial stage?
This right now is in the trial stage. We are trying to see whether we have enough need for that or not. If we do have enough need, then we will get another one. Okay. The issue is not the drone. The issue is the operator.
Sure.
The operator has to be certified, and we have only a certain number of staff. But if everyone goes out in the site with the drone, then there's no one in the office to do it.
So how many certified do we have?
We have only one certified right now, but we are trying to get another couple of more people certified.
Okay. Very good. All right, Vice President Reese.
No, thank you. I'll just add on to some of those questions. Right now you said staff would have to go out. Now, if staff is not going out, the drone is, I just want to be clear, it's not replacing staff jobs. They have other things to work on.
Correct. Right. So the staff has to take the drone out. The operator has to take the drone out to do the inspection. But this operator, like Keegan, he's our GIS specialist. So when he's in the office, he's doing other work. He's downloading the drone data. He's working with the drone data and also other stuff.
Yes. No, I have with that, his job will be there, but you said earlier that without the drone, what we currently do is staff goes out.
Correct.
I guess more than one, obviously.
I misunderstood.
And now we'll have the drone expert would be dealing with the drone. They won't have to go out. So what, will they still have jobs and
Yes.
something else to do? Okay, I just want to
I
make sure.
misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have inspectors. Those are stormwater inspectors. So we are shortage of staff. So basically, so they are so busy right now. So that's why we got the drone, so we can relieve them a little more, so they can do other stuff, and we can work on this.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted the people
Yes,
watching
no.
to know that no jobs will be displaced. This will help us do more and be more efficient. So thank you. This is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. It's a great move forward for us. I remember, and I know John Nelson's still in the room, we had a constituent, it's been a number of years back, and the back of her yard was sliding down into a ravine, and her she shed was starting to move. And she was very concerned about her she shed, and so I went out with John, I don't know what, and I don't know what motivated me to do that, but I did. And we went down into the ravine to try to figure out what pipes were down there, what stormwater systems were running through this that was creating this, destabilization in the. Had there been a drone, we would not have had to climb all the way down into the ravine. It took some time, and it was a little dangerous. And we all three went down there. So anyway, I think this is a great move forward, using technology where it should be used to not only save time and be more efficient, but be safer with our employees and the work that they have to do these inspections. So anyways, I think this is a great move forward, and I applaud it, and hope that we can do as much of this as we need to moving into the future. Thank you.
you.
Thanks for bringing it to us.
Yeah. James.
If I may, James Noyes, Plan Development Director. I just want to say two things. One is this drone is going to do a lot for us, and we're not replacing personnel. As you mentioned, our staff for inspection for storm sewer does a lot of work. We got a lot of development happening. They've got to be out on site. One of the key things I want to point out, so it is, of course, how we can work smarter, right? And this is a great example of it. So we talked about the infrared portion here. If we have a pipe that is a 200, 300-foot section of pipe, and we know there's an issue in it, we don't know where, all right? We can't send people in there. It's unsafe, right? So what do you got to do? You got to start digging. So what do you got to do is you got to dig. It takes time, and you get into property, and the more that you get into it, the more expensive it gets. This drone can fly over, find out where that spot is, where there's water coalescing, and dig in that spot. So if you're 100 feet up, that saves you from having to dig 100 feet. That saves time, and that saves money, and that saves getting into people's property. So these are the things that help us out. I want to mention one other thing, damage assessment. If we have any sort of damage, flooding, tornadoes, any sort of issue that we may need, where it's unsafe to send personnel in, you can send the drone in. So those are two examples that I just wanted to point out. So this is a great program, and again, we're really excited about it. We're going to get some more folks that are going to be trained on this besides Keegan, but he took the time and went through, and he is FCC certified. So from there, I'm really looking forward to getting this in use. But thank you very much for your time today for us to demonstrate what we're doing in planning and development.
I had a question as you talk about all of that, thinking about MSD and the coordination with MSD, because oftentimes, James, they come in here and they say they didn't know the age of the pipe that was underneath, whatever. And if you could take your drone and the sensor could tell you how old these pipes are, or whatever, had you thought about coordinating maybe with MSD to
So correct me if I'm wrong, we have a drone committee, is that right? Or yeah, so that it's formed to kind of, I think it's a loose collaborative current, but it's really to kind of look at these to get together. And so collaboration with MSD would be a good thing. I mean, that's something with storm sewer pipes as well. We have many storm sewer pipes that are old, that have been there, and sometimes we're finding out about these that are in place that we didn't know about. Other times that we may not know the age. That's the part of this program, is to go out and map all of this stuff and know what condition these are in and sort of what type of pipe it is.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yes.
2 follow-up questions. One is the certifications. Are we? Is there a cost? I'm sure is there a cost to that, and are we providing that to our employees?
I'll let Keegan, if you can.
I don't know if HR is. I'm not sure how to do it.
Well, there's no official training besides taking a test. It's doable.
Okay.
The textbook and the test is $200.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there is training available that.
So the department pays for the test.
That's what I want to
Test, but there's no cost in the training and anything. So it's just a test you take, a couple of $100, and then the department pays for it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, congratulations for passing
Yeah.
the test. This new innovative method.
Yeah, and then my other question was, and I'm not the technology person, but when it was brought up about the age of the pipes, does it have any type of infrared or something that could have helped us, like what we're doing with the regional safety complex? I don't know, Jeff, if that's, because if the drone could have came in and saw that it had boats and all kind of stuff up under there, we wouldn't be faced with things that we didn't expect and the cost. So when we do due diligence, I guess is the word, when we doing a property assessment or due diligence, I don't know if the drones have it, but it would be so great to have known that, they had boats and cars up under the land. I don't know, does that have that type of technology to help us?
So I'm not, Keegan can jump in here, but essentially it'll allow us to, work with other departments. Obviously, when we have property which we are interested in purchasing, we're doing our due diligence, again, to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to collaborate with, obviously, all departments within the county. And so looking at properties and doing that due diligence, just give us a shout, and we'd be more than willing to fly over, and from that, have Keegan out. He can fly over the site, and from that point, see what he can see. Now, yes, it probably could see some things underneath there using the infrared. Yeah, it is infrared technology. But what it could see, I'm not sure, but it may see some things. So, hey, it doesn't really do more than just an hour or so, a couple hours of his time to go out there and to drive that around and take a look at that. And they may see some things that we couldn't necessarily see. And from there, we can say, hey, that's something we may want to explore further. So there are some things that it would help us see and do some due diligence. Not a lot of cost. We've already got the machinery and we've got the trained employee to do it.
Awesome, thank you.
That's a great question, because I'm sitting here thinking about our animal shelter. We found some things over there, our new animal shelter, and I don't know if they want to go, but that would be good if you could go over there on Gray Road. What's the address? Okay. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're giving us a whole list of projects.
Yeah, we did.
If I could just real quick, just want to thank James, Keegan, Muhammad. I think I see Olivia back there as well. So just want to thank the entire planning and development team for all their work on this. And in particular, I believe Mo hit his 31-year anniversary with the county recently, right, Muhammad?
Congratulations.
And he does fantastic work for the county, as you've witnessed here today. So just wanted to thank him for that.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Is there any further business to come before the board? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Samara Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you.